that we all need to shine our light as bright as we can and as often as we can, because from their view up in outer space, they can literally see our pillars of light coming from
Wow.
the earth. And the more of us who wake up, the light gets bigger and stronger.
Aspen Roots.
Welcome to another episode of the Aspen Roots podcast, where we like to inspire you with true spiritual stories. And today we're so excited to welcome Erin Hargraves from New Hampshire. Welcome, Erin.
Hello. Thank you so much. Hello, Brandon. Hello, Sophia. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you for being here. We're super excited. So, for our listeners, Erin, you offer energy healing, psychic readings, tarot or oracle card readings, and you came here today with a bunch of short stories. And these are some of my favorite episodes where we just like hammer through a bunch of really cool stories. And I have a list of your titles here. I've never heard your stories before, but I can tell you guys, everyone who's listening, that we're going to cover a ton of topics today. There's stories, everything from UFOs, angels, demons, ghosts, energy manipulation, so on and so forth. And I know that we're going to kick it off with the synchronicity around having Erin on the podcast here today. So let's start with that one, and then we'll just see where we go from there.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, let's get started. Oh, this
Cool.
is so exciting. So I just kind of want to rewind. I met Brandon and Sophia a couple years back when I was taking some psychic development classes, and they were a great addition to the group. And I remember one of the last meetings we had in that group, you guys said, hey, we're going to be starting doing podcasting. If you ever want to come back on when you start doing your business, give us a ring and we'll get connected. And I didn't even have to give you guys a ring. Sophia sent an email at like the perfect time. So it was around Thanksgiving. I went out on my back porch to meditate. And when I meditate out there, I just kind of like to look at nature. We're near the woods, you know, just kind of center and ground myself. And I've been resisting going and doing this professionally for a long time now. I'm just nervous. And it's like, no, it's time. So I was being a little baby, having conversation with my spirit guides. I was like, oh, I was crying. I'm not going to lie, I was crying. It was a little embarrassing. I was like, okay, guys, I know I'm ready. I'm afraid and I'm going to be a baby. And you guys are going to be like, congratulations, you took a baby step. Big job. Like, what whoop-de-doo? You know, like we've been waiting. And so I was like, okay, God, like I am ready. I'm ready. Just send whatever it needs to come my way, and what will be, will be. And not even 20 minutes later, I get the email from Sophia inviting me on.
Wow.
And you even were like, I've been being told I need to contact you, and I didn't hear your side of the story, so I would love to hear that side. But that's basically how we got in touch and why we're here today.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't know that there was only 20 minutes between what you were doing and then that email coming through. And then I also
Yeah.
just want to throw
Yeah.
out there that from us, that last meeting where we said we were starting the podcast till now, that was like a couple years in between.
Mhm.
So to have a couple of years go by and then within 20 minutes for this to all just snap together like that, it's pretty profound. But I'll let
That
Sophia
is.
talk about how it dropped in for her.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear the story because I did not know that 20 minutes is very profound. So it just kept dropping into my awareness to contact you over and over again. And I was like, okay, yeah, we got to do that. We got to do that. And I just was busy with life. And then it like came so loudly the day I wrote the email. And I often dream like right before I wake up, so late in the morning. And it was just like this loud voice coming through to contact you. And that was the day that I contacted you. I was like, okay, yes, I know. I've been putting it off for a little bit. So, so that is just amazing. I think the universe was just like knowing that you were ready, knowing it was a good time. And so it got extra loud that day.
Wow. It's crazy and funny how stuff works like that. But
Mhm.
like the more you do this work and you live a spiritual life, every day is like that, or it can be like that, right?
It
Totally.
can be, and it's been happening for years, and I'm still just as mind blown every single time. I'm like not
I
getting used
know.
to it. I'm like, that's crazy.
So true.
But I think it's good that we don't get used to it because it keeps the magic alive.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. So I figured we would jump in with some stories about protection.
Okay.
Probably like back in like 2022, 2023 was like when my guides were teaching me how to protect myself.
Mm.
I just think right now with everything that's going on in the world, I think a lot of us need to learn how to protect ourselves. So hopefully through some of these stories, I can kind of like teach people tips and tricks, like something easy you can do to kind of like empower yourself and fight back against negative energies or whatever you want to call them. I know people call them different things, but
Mm-hmm.
so I just like to call them lower energies. Some people like to call
Cool.
them demons, like, you know, whatever attachments,
Totally.
whatever you want
Yeah.
to call them.
And we've had a few guests recently that their stories have been of that nature. So I think this is a
Mhm.
great addition to add some protection and how you learn this.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of fear out there right now.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people really need to be looking the opposite direction
Mhm.
because that's if we want to see a brighter future, we need to focus on the bright things and not the negativity and dragging us down and all that.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So, one of my really cool stories, I like to call this one my angel of protection. So, I was asleep one night and my dream life is very active. I've always been able to like astral project in my sleep and have precognitive dreams and whatnot and speak to guides. So, one night
Cool.
I'm sleeping and I'm in this familiar place, but you know when you're dreaming and it looks familiar, but you know that you're in a dream because like the door looks weird or it's in like
Mhm.
the
Yep.
middle of a desert or something. So
Yep.
that's why I knew it was a dream. So this beautiful, tall, slim African American woman starts walking up to me and I couldn't see her wings, but I knew she was an angel. Like I could almost see it with my third eye. And she just kind of was like sitting there dressed as a businesswoman and kind of just being like, okay, we're going to learn something today. This is a training ground. Like, here's a lesson. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess here we go. So I'm sitting in a chair in a living room and I see this Indian man going through the backyard and there's a big sliding glass door where there shouldn't be one. That's why I'm like, that's definitely a dream.
Okay.
And he's like prowling around trying to like break in. And I'm like, oh no, he's coming for me. And intuitively, I knew he was a demon or he represented a demon.
Hmm.
And so he breaks in and he starts coming straight towards me and he walks through the angel guide, like she kind of like disappears. And I'm sitting in the chair, I can't move and I'm like, okay, this is a test. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, but okay. So this demon starts crawling towards me on the floor
Oh, God.
and
jeez.
I know he's about to sexually assault me. And so he's coming closer and closer and he spreads my knees apart. And I don't know how I knew this, if I had heard it somewhere before or if it just directly came to me, but I looked it dead in the eyes and I meant it when I said it. I said, I love you.
Wow.
Wow.
And he looked at me with the most horrified look on his face and completely just like poof disappeared.
Really?
Really
Whoa.
magical.
That's not what I was expecting was going to
No.
happen.
No.
No. So when I woke up, I was like, trying to digest what just happened. And I was like, okay, this makes sense to me in my brain because demons, lower entities, whatever, are on the lower end of the scale. And love is the opposite end. And they can't stand love. They literally cannot vibrate that high.
Hmm.
Right.
They
okay.
disappear. And they'd rather go for the low hanging fruit, the people who are like depressed and angry or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I learned something that day. I was like, okay, when something negative is coming towards you, you need to just raise your vibration and like just look at it and like it's still a piece of God, even if they're a bad thing. They're just on the other side of the coin from us.
Right.
Wow. That's
So
so,
it's like-
wise.
Yeah, try to give them love and understanding. They're not going to accept it, obviously, because they wouldn't be in that lower
Mhm.
vibration. But if you want to protect yourself from something coming at you, just try to raise your vibration. And the quickest way to do that is say, I love you.
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is so powerful.
I also imagine like easier said than done in a way too, you know.
Yeah,
and
because
fears
you're in that.
involved.
You're in that fear state.
Yeah. And I don't know why I didn't have fear. I just think in that stage of my development, I was ready to deal with it without being scared. Because my whole life, I've seen ghosts and dealt with scary things, and I've always been scared of them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that angel was just like, no, it's time to stand up and realize how powerful you are over them.
Well, that's beautiful too. Yeah. And I love that she gave you kind of a precursor, warned you in a way. And then it's also interesting because it's like she couldn't interfere. You had to figure it out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In order
Yeah.
to learn the lesson.
Yep.
Yeah, I just really feel like you're standing in your power. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just really in your power when you did that. I
Yeah.
love
She was teaching me how to start doing that for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah. And it's very powerful. And another quick story, very shortly after that, I was at work and I work at night. And I've had a bunch of crazy stuff happen to me at work, but in this instance, a couple days after that dream, I I was in the kitchen walking towards the living room because I work in a group home, and I heard this scary voice right behind me growl my name, being
Whoa.
like being like Erin. And
Oh
like
gosh.
out of and it was audible. It wasn't like clairaudient. Like I
Uh-huh.
heard it. And normally I would like pee my pants, right? Like anyone
Yeah.
would pee their pants, run away, be like, oh my God. I
Yeah.
literally just turned around and I don't know, again, I don't know why. I guess I was ready to stand on my own. I turned around and looked at it and it wasn't there. I'm sure it was there, but I didn't see it. I
Uh-huh.
turned and looked at it and I was like, okay, and you don't scare me. Get out of here. And like nothing else happened after that. I was like, okay, all right. Like I have some balls, I guess. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, intuitively, again, I feel like you knew what to do.
I think that instance was like teaching me like, hey, this is another test. Like, hey, are you scared? Are you still scared? Are you still scared of us? It's like, no. So what if I can hear you? So what if I can see you? Like, oh well.
Yeah, when I hear that
Right.
story inside of me, I'm just like, yeah, go Erin.
Right?
Totally.
It's crazy how stuff like that happens. But so the next story I have takes place in my house. A lot of stuff happens in my house too.
Same here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
They're just
understand.
attracted. So one night I always have to pee in the middle of the night. So
Mhm.
I get up in the middle of the night. It's probably like between 1 to 3 in the morning and I go to the bathroom. I come out of the bathroom and I'm still like sleepy eyed, like, oh, I can't see. And right across from the bathroom is a bedroom, and then my bedroom's next to that one. So as I'm turning the corner out of the bathroom to go back to my room, I see, not just out of the corner of my eye, but dead on, I see a black shadow figure about my height standing in the doorway, literally like less than 2 feet away from me.
Oh,
Whoa.
And
wow.
I was like, oh, I don't think so, not tonight. And like I go running in my room and shut the door because I'm like, "Ugh, I just woke up. I'm not prepared to deal with this, but now I
Yeah.
have to deal with it.
Trying to
Mhm.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, so like I was kind of afraid, like my heart's racing a little bit. And so I lock my door because something told me to lock my door. And I try to, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore it and go back to sleep. It probably won't bother me. Next thing I know, something's trying to turn my doorknob and it's jiggling the doorknob like it's
Oh
something out
my
of a
God.
horror movie.
Oh
And I'm like,
God.
okay, you know what to do. Don't get scared. So I pull out my sage. I start saging my room. I start praying to God, doing prayers, asking angels to come in and protect me and protect the space.
Mhm.
And, the jiggling stopped and it kind of calmed down and I felt much, much better. Turned on all my salt lamps, did the whole 9 yards and
Nice.
it went away. So that was one instance of that. So just
Jeez.
don't be afraid when stuff like that happens. Like, I
Right.
know it's really scared not to do that, but it's like, okay, you have knowledge, you have wisdom, you have stuff in your arsenal here. And even
Yeah.
if you don't, you just have to ask for God to help you or ask for angels to come assist you. And usually they'll come.
Awesome.
Totally. We're with you on that 100%. And I just want to comment on how rare it is to see something like dead on instead of out of the
Mm-hmm.
corner of your eyes like that. That must have been like a powerful entity.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask too, do you think it was a disembodied soul or like something of a lower frequency, obviously, but do you have any idea of who it was, why they were there? Were they just trying to get your attention or scare you or yeah.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it wasn't a ghost. It didn't feel like human, especially if it's jiggling my door handle. Like, I've seen tons of ghosts in my life and they've done some weird stuff. I've never had a good thing try to get in my room and jiggle. Like, I'm like, you can walk through a wall. You don't have to jiggle the door. You're just, you're doing, like, you're doing that to scare me. And I'm like, and I know entities like that, they feed off the fear.
Yes.
So you have to cut that off. That's why I tell people, like, try not to be afraid. Like, be afraid for a second, but like, be like, no, because you're giving them energy to come at you more by feeding that fear.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Well, you got to tell them that you love them.
Yeah,
like the
that
first
too,
story.
right? Yeah. But I think that happened before I went through that dream state. So
Okay.
yeah, crazy.
That is
But
crazy.
I have another story about how I actually was able to like clear the house very quickly.
Okay, sweet.
So I was at home alone at night. My husband works nights as well, but we have different schedules. So sometimes I'm alone at night. And our bedroom is on one end of the house, and our side door is on the complete opposite end of the house. I'm in my room, and I can clearly hear something rapping at the back door on the glass 3 times. 1, 2, 3, knock, knock, knock. Now, there's no way in hell I would have heard that from way across the house. It felt like I heard it from 5 feet away.
Wow.
And it was nighttime. And I was like, okay, I know what that means. When it's nighttime and something's knocking at your door, it's not a good thing. It's something trying to get in your house.
Yeah.
So, I share a home. So the person I live with likes to put welcome signs on the front and back doors. And I'm like, that's a no-no because you're welcoming anything into your house unless you do extra stuff.
Interesting.
So,
I've never thought about that before.
Me either.
Yeah, so like welcome mats, like on the inside of the house are good. On the outside, unless you're doing extra protection work, no bueno. You're asking for an invitation, and anything will get invited at that point.
Makes sense. We don't have any, luckily, but that makes sense.
Yeah, good. So you're lucky. So I know for sure on the back door there was a welcome sign, and we have woods back here, and I always feel like different energies out there. So I'm like, and things are just attracted because I can see them, obviously. So they're like, hey, she can see us. Let's go talk to her. Like,
Yep.
So besides the welcome sign, I was watching a YouTube video going over the history of a specific demon in a film. I think it was Hereditary, the movie Hereditary. I don't know if anyone has ever seen it. It's a very scary movie about witchcraft and a demon. But they were talking about this specific demon. I'm not going to say the name, but they were talking about a specific demon over and over and again. And I believe that's what kind of drew in the energy. I'm not saying that it was a demon knocking on my back door, but I do think that saying that name over and over again in a very short amount of time was calling it in.
Wow.
We have heard that can happen from other people who've been on this podcast, so that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. Yeah.
Man.
So the 3 knocks happen. I'm by myself. I'm scared. And I'm like, okay, no, I know what to do. And my guides are like, you know what to do. Do it. I'm like, okay. So I just stood in my room. I didn't even have to go to the door. And I just started praying to God. And I was like, God, just close any and all access points, close down any portals that may be in the home. Please send angels to come reinforce the property and then the building and then every room and then every person. And, you know, flush whatever this is out if it's not for our highest good. And while I was praying and like meditating and just kind of connecting with the energy, I could feel energetically the scuffle of whatever was in the house getting out of the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I kept wanting to go to the door. I'm like, should I go to the door and make sure it's locked? And my guides are like, no, stay right there. Don't move. We're still working on it. And I was like, okay, all right. And like literally it was almost like a cartoon. You know those old school cartoons with like they're fighting and like there's a cloud of smoke and like it was very much like that, but lots of tumbling. So it was like the angels, I could feel them were like pushing them out and they were like, no, we don't want to go. And they're like, you're getting out now. Like she ordered it.
Yeah.
So it was very cool. I could feel them getting out. And then like, I felt very peaceful in the home and they were like, okay, it's safe to go out now. If you wish, you don't have to, but it's taken care of. I'm like, okay, good. Awesome. I love that. I love this.
Yeah. You really got to be grateful for those spiritual teams.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the lesson with that is just like, even if you don't know how to do this kind of work, like just ask and you shall receive. Ask for
Yeah.
help and it will come. And if it's serious enough, they will send their big hitters if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Yeah.
that.
We totally resonate with that. So thankful for those teams, the angelic guides
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
Yes.
They work quickly.
And powerfully. And
Yes.
they can see all the stuff that we're barely seeing out of the corner of our eyes, too.
Oh my God, yes. And there's just one more thing regarding protection for the stories that I think is really powerful for people to hear. Every night before I go to work, I sit in my car before I leave and I do a little prayer just saying, let me have a good night at work and, whatever happens will happen and yada, yada, yada. And so one night I was like, you know what? I feel weird. And I don't know why I feel weird. I just felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, something just told me, it's like, recite the Lord's Prayer right now. And I was like, okay, like I know this. I grew up Irish Catholic. I know the Lord's Prayer. I used to say it every night before bed. And I tried to recite it and I couldn't say it.
Really?
I forgot it, number one. And I was like, that's
Huh.
weird that I forgot it, but okay. So I'm like, let's Google it.
Yeah.
Whatever. What's the Lord's Prayer? I'm like, I jogged my memory. So
Yeah.
I try to start reading it and it felt or sounded like the words were coming out backwards, or like I just felt like I had like, I don't know, like molasses in my mouth. I was like, and
Wow.
I was like, am I having a stroke? What is going on? This is bizarre. I've never experienced that. So I fought through it. And it took me about 5 minutes to say the Lord's Prayer, but I was able to get through it. And I was like, okay, once I did it once, I did it 2 more times because I like to do things in threes just to make sure it's sunken in there.
Yeah.
And I was fine after that, but I'm like, okay, that was different. I definitely had something attached to me that didn't want me to say those words.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
obviously gone now, but what the hell?
Yeah.
So what the hell? Like, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
I'm just like, I don't know what it was, but I did feel kind of weird, but not like I was possessed or anything like that, but just something was piggybacking off of me clearly. And I obviously wasn't doing spiritual hygiene like I should have been doing, something like that. I don't know. But
Wow.
I mean, again, just pray. Even if you're not Catholic or Christian, do whatever works for you. Just pray
Yeah.
to your higher God, whatever you believe in, and you'll be fine.
Thanks for being here, angels. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. They're here. They're always here. All right, let's see. All right, so this is kind of like a misnomer. This has a couple different signs, this next story, but I recently went on my honeymoon with my husband and I. We didn't do a honeymoon when we got married, so 7 years later, I'm like, I'm tired of waiting. We need to make it happen. So originally, we booked a cruise for the Bahamas. And because we were going to go to Bimini, something just said Bimini, Bimini, Bimini. So we booked this cruise, we go. And of course a hurricane comes and totally changes our plans,
Yeah.
which is totally fine because it was very much like your plan versus God's plan.
Right.
And like your plan was crap and God's plan is way better for you. So it was definitely one of those situations. So we ended up going to Mexico and it was amazing. We saw Chichen Itza,
Cool.
which is like completely blows my mind how they built that place and all the lore about it. We just did a bunch of cool stuff there. But while we were on the cruise, before we left, I prayed to my dad who died back in 2020. I prayed to him and I was like, Dad, we're going on our honeymoon finally. And, it'd be really great if you could just watch over us and make sure we're safe and, all that stuff and so on and so forth. So we're on the cruise and we were on a very small boat. So we saw the same people all the time. We were there for a week. Not very many people at all. So my husband is a smoker, unfortunately. So he was out on the smoking deck and so he's watching everyone. And he said that he saw my father on the cruise ship.
Really?
Wow.
Like basically a doppelganger of my father.
Wow.
And I was like, what? So how did he look? Did he look like when he was sick? Did he look like when he was healthy?
Yeah.
Like, was he thin? Was he fat? Like, how did he look? And he was like, no, he looked like when he was healthy. And he's like, Erin, you wouldn't believe it. He was like, you could see the scars on his legs because he had 2 artificial knees. And he's like, he had the same scars as your dad, like looked
What?
just like your dad and everything. And I was like, he always sees them. Like I'll ask for a sign, but he'll see the sign, especially if it's my dad. He won't come to me, he'll come to my husband.
Wow, I'm
So
Wow.
like covered in chills right now.
And when you
yeah.
said your dad, I feel like he's so strongly with you. I don't know, this like presence came as soon as you said that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm sure he's around all the time. Yeah.
yeah. You feel
His ashes are right over there, so
okay.
he's definitely close. But
Wow.
I knew it was a sign from him because my husband was like, I've been looking for that guy ever since I saw him, and I didn't see anyone else. And like, there was a bunch of old people on the cruise because we went on like an off time of the year.
Hmm.
And he's like, I never saw this guy again, and I saw the same people every day. I'm like, so
Yeah,
obviously that was a sign. Like,
obviously.
Wow,
Wow.
I love that so much. I love it. I wonder why it appears to your husband. No.
he's very psychic, but in a very different way. And I also think my dad and we didn't have a good relationship when he was here.
Mm.
Okay.
We were able to heal our relationship once I went through my spiritual awakening and started tapping more into my gifts and stuff.
Nice.
That's a very long story. Like I can tell that maybe another day, but
Okay.
so we're closer now in spirit than we were in the physical, which is really sad, but I've gotten over it. I was like, it's okay. Like people should know that like just because someone is dead doesn't mean you can't still reach out to them and have a relationship on the other side and forgive them for things and move past roadblocks you had with them in the physical. Sometimes it is easier for people to hash stuff out when they've crossed over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
So,
think that's a massively important point, and I think it's a very hopeful message, and I like to
Yeah.
highlight that for sure.
And I
yeah.
think people are limited, when they're in their physical body. They have their own wounding and, belief systems, whatever it is. So they have a lot of limitations on them. And when they're in spirit, I think a lot of that lifts.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it did for him. So, but that's why I think he goes to my husband because I'm just kind of like, yeah, dad, like, I know you're there. Like, whatever, go. You can go hang out with someone else. And he's just kind of the same way. He's like, yeah, I got other stuff I need to do too. I'm like, cool. I'm like, I know you got my back and I got yours and we're all good. And
Aw.
it's kind of like that kind of a relationship on the other
Nice.
Awesome.
side. So I think that's why. And he loved my husband. So I think he likes to pop in and be like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, oh my God, I saw your dad. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you did see him. Like,
Pop in,
That's
like I'm
so
watching you
cool.
with my daughter. Careful
right,
there, bud.
right. He's like, definitely. It's so funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, powerful stuff. So you were fully protected on your honeymoon there. Sounds like it was probably
Yeah.
a good trip overall then.
Oh, it was what we needed. It felt like a reset because we went totally like no electronics, nothing, just me and my husband and just
Awesome.
yeah, it was great. And when we came back, it was very much just like, okay, you had your time of relaxation and peace. It's time to start on your work and your mission, and
Hmm.
it's time to start going with this. And yeah, it's just I don't know, it just felt very synchronistic, like the whole thing. It just felt like it was meant to happen.
I love that. I
Yeah, me
love that.
too.
Yeah, there's powerful work to be done here, and you got your last little reset there, and then off you go.
Yep, they're like, all right, time to stop playing around and get to work.
Nice.
Darn it.
Yep,
Yeah, darn
it's okay, it's all right. All right, so let's see. I do have a really cool healing story for you guys.
Yay, love healing
Okay.
stories.
It was about a year ago, probably more towards March, and the birds are coming out of their hibernation and they're gearing up to have breeding season, so they're all kind of like fighting each other. And so I live near the woods and we have a bunch of bird feeders, and part of my meditations is bird watching, so I know all the birds, I know how they act and behave. And so there was a bunch of chickadees, and even though they're a tiny bird, they're not afraid of anything. Like you could be standing right next to the bird feeder and they're like, I don't care, and like fly right by your head. And for such a small bird, you'd think they'd be afraid, but they're not. So they have feisty personalities, and especially during this last breeding season, I don't know what happened with the birds. They were going nuts. They were fighting each other like crazy, like I had never seen before. So they must have been fighting for food. I happen to look outside and there's a chickadee lying at the bottom of the bird feeder. he must have been knocked out or picked on or
Aw.
something.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I don't think he's dead, because I mean, we have a bunch of birds like flying into windows and stuff, and you know, they get knocked out for like 30-40 minutes and then they come to and rest, and then they fly off and they're fine.
Mhm.
So I was standing outside the window staring at the bird, and I was like, okay, God, if I'm supposed to be a healer and do this, show me that what I'm about to do will work. I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I start sending Chokure energy to the bird, which is physical healing. And I'm channeling the energy, and I just start bawling my eyes out, crying, because like I can feel the energy working. I can see the bird starting to move and like come to again. And it was like, okay, so this is real, because you know, even though I've seen stuff all the time, sometimes it's so nice to have validation, even though you know
Oh
it's
yeah,
true. It's
always.
like
Yeah.
you like to test it sometimes. So I'm crying, and I was like, okay, my heart is too open right now, because it's very important to heal and be empathic with, you know, clients or whoever you're healing. But to an extent, you can't be so open and so empathic that like it's preventing you
Mm.
from doing what you need to do. So I was like, okay, I need to learn how to like protect myself, and so that I can do the healing. And all of a sudden behind me, I felt I later found out that it was Archangel Raphael, but he
Mhm.
was all armored up. He wasn't in like a robe. Like I thought it was Archangel Michael because of the armor, but I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's not him. He's not here for protection. Like this is more of a healing thing. He came up behind me, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, "I can help with that."
Oh.
And I instantly felt like this armor just appear and like go all over my body, and like it worked. I stopped crying. I wasn't so empathic towards the bird and what was happening, and I was more like, okay, like you can still care about this bird but not be bawling your eyes out while you're trying to help
Yeah.
it, right? So I was like, wow. And then the bird got up and flew away, and
Oh man.
yeah, he was
Wow.
the bird was fine. He still got picked on by other birds as soon as he flew away, but I was like, hey, you know what, at least I helped you out there for a little bit.
For
Yes,
sure.
totally. And you got your prayer answered.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, birds are such spiritual creatures. To be able to save one like that, like, oh, it's
Totally.
so special.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just very cool. It was very cool.
It's really interesting to me you're able to track yourself in the moment. Like you're not in a state where you can help, you're too in your emotions. So that's really important to be able to have that self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I do healing, like I can separate the emotions from what's happening, but just in that moment, I guess I couldn't. And I guess they came and helped me out with that. I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Like,
That is perfect. And the validation behind it was amazing. I love that.
Yes.
yes,
It's a good story.
absolutely. So the next two stories I have are about dream visitations with relatives on the other side.
Yes, I love anything to do with dreams, and then especially this aspect of it. Let's hear them.
Yes. I love it because even if people can't dream, and I think anyone can ask for this. Like anyone can ask for help and just say, "Hey, can I get a dream visitation with so and so?" And even if it doesn't happen right away, it might take a couple months, but I promise you, if it's meant to be, it will be.
Hmm.
Okay. So when my dad passed, we had a very strained relationship. I was not there when he passed. I was not able to say goodbye in the way that most people do. I said goodbye in a different way, just obviously not in a physical way.
Hmm.
So when he died, I could feel his energy around me for a couple weeks, but because I was grieving, I was pushing him away. I just wasn't ready. I didn't want to talk. I wasn't in a space to talk, but I could feel him hovering, and I had a coworker be like, "You know your dad's like following you for weeks, right?" I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, I know. Like I can feel him." Like and he's like, "Oh, he wants you to know he's sorry." And because I was, you know, still in pain and not healed yet, I was like, yeah, well, that would have been nice to hear when he was freaking alive. Like,
Right.
and I totally just shut her down. And I was like, you know, that wasn't nice. She was trying to help, but
Mm.
you know, I just wasn't in a space to deal with that at
We're
that
human,
moment.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And his death was like a big start of my spiritual awakening. So that
Wow.
was like the beginning for me. So one night I'm over here in my room, and I can literally like feel him hovering over me, and I literally was like, go away, like I don't want to talk to you right now, like stop it. And I know he was probably really pissed off about that. So I go to bed and I have a dream visitation. I didn't realize it at the time, but figured out later that's what that was. And he came to me, and everyone, all my teachers have been like, you'll know it's a dream visitation if it's nice and friendly. If it's anything evil or bad, you know it's not for your highest good and it wasn't a real visitation and da 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 da.
Okay.
And I was like, that is not true, because my my dream visitation, he came in hot. He was mad. He was upset. He was angry, and just kind of being like, what happened? Like, why weren't you there for me? And da 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 da. And I'm just like,
Huh.
like I was planning on seeing you later that day, and you passed before that happened, and it wasn't on purpose. And he was just like, okay, all right, cool, all right, we're cool, all right, like, and he
Oh,
totally
really?
totally changed. He's like, all right, cool, I just needed to hear that. All right, thanks for talking to me. And I'm sure we talked for a little bit. I just felt a lot of love. I don't remember the rest of the dream, but I just remember like a lot of love and like forgiveness and healing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was that dream visitation. That was a little crazy, but I'm like, yeah, no, sometimes they're not always happy, but
Yeah,
Wow.
right?
sometimes they're a little pissed off, but that's okay.
That's
But
pretty
it,
profound, especially
yeah.
like a daughter-father relationship. There's a lot of charge in that. It's not like having like
Mhm.
your great-grandfather who's never alive when
Mm.
you were alive come visit you. This is like, yeah, that's intense. I'm glad that it cleared up and then you just felt the energies of love and stuff. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that he felt heard and resolved. I feel like maybe he just needed that. And then he can move on with, okay, we could dissolve that.
I like how he
Yeah.
didn't argue with you. He listened to you and he's like, yes, that's truth. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
true.
think that's exactly why he was kind of hounding me for those weeks. He wanted an explanation, and I don't blame him at all. And I just think it's really powerful, because usually spirit can't come visit you. Like, usually it takes a couple months for them, once they cross over, to kind of like, you know, get reacquainted with the other side, learn how to manipulate energy, learn how to come see you and connect with you. And this happened within like 2 weeks of him passing. So I don't know if he just hadn't crossed over yet, or if he was like, I'll cross over, but I got a bone to pick with you. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I'm sure he was spiritual, but in a different way. So I don't know if he was just naturally gifted and there he already kind of knew how to do it, or if he was like, nope, you need to teach me how to go back real quick because I got to do something.
Yeah,
Right?
right?
I mean,
Very
I think
interesting.
all of us have done that process thousands of times. I always wonder, like, the moment we cross, if we like remember, like, oh, this again, this is familiar, or not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then another dream visit that I had was probably like a year after that. So probably like 2021-ish. I was listening to a podcast called Psychic Teachers. And that was one of the first things that got me into learning about psychic and mediumship stuff. And one of the recent podcasts, they were talking about how to do dream visitation. They're like, you just need to ask. That's all you need to do. You just need to ask. So I was
Mhm.
like, huh, okay. I'm like, even though I got a visitation from my dad, like, a year ago, I'm like, let me see who else I can see. So I asked God before I went to bed, I'm like, hey, if anyone wants to come do a dream visitation the next couple months, like, just, have it come through and let me remember it. So I go to bed that night. It happened that night, of course.
Perfect.
And I ended up seeing my grandmother, which was my father's mother. And she was extremely religious when she was here. And so I'm assuming we were in like a part of heaven, or maybe like a lower part of heaven, or like some halfway point, because we were in this humongous, like, there's no way it would be real here. It was way too big. This humongous cathedral with like
Oh,
ceilings like almost 100 feet high,
Oh.
with like hundreds of pews everywhere. And it was just gorgeous. It was beautiful. And I'm just sitting in this pew, and there's two people sitting next to me I don't recognize. And there's hundreds of people in this church-like area. I'm realizing having visitations with loved ones on the other side in a dream state.
Cool.
wow.
So, yeah, and I've never seen this kind of place before. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I wonder who I'm here to meet. So this woman who I don't recognize, she was very young. She comes into the pew, and she sits down next to the two people next to me. She has a quick chat with them. And then she goes to the next person. And then she comes to me. And I didn't think she was for me because I didn't recognize her. The minute she sat down, her energy changed and she turned into my grandmother, but not how I knew her. how she must have looked when she was younger, like maybe in her 30s.
But you were able to
And
recognize her?
yeah, I was able to recognize that it was her, but like
Cool.
physically, I'm like, that's not my grandma, but like I knew it was my grandmother.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember her sitting down with me and like holding my hand and saying hi, like thanks for visiting. And I don't remember much of the conversation. I think it was just more about like the experience and like seeing this place where we were. So that was really cool. So I just want people to know, like, if they ever want a visitation from someone, they just have to ask before they go to bed. And if they're ready and they can get enough deep sleep to get into that place where they can astral travel, they can definitely meet up with people.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love hearing that. I actually have said that to people before. Just ask.
Yeah. And I love the protected space, like that cathedral where all this is happening feels like a protected, like sacred space almost. And when these encounters and visitations happen, to me, they're real. And we did an episode earlier on in our podcast where Sophia talked about a visitation from her mom who's on the other side. And she was told family secrets that she later went and verified. So there was like this verification to the whole thing. There's no way you could be like, that was just a dream, you know? So it's very real and powerful too. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I didn't hear any cool secrets like that, but that's even better though. Like, because I feel like my family is just like, you can talk to us anytime. There, you don't need to know anything. But other people, I feel like, yeah, you can get some really important information from the other side.
Totally.
It was interesting. It's like she wanted to be absolved because she stole money in this life, and I didn't know. So she wanted to like be honest with me, and she'd been on the other side for 20 years, and she said she had spent the last 20 years clearing her karma for it. So there's so many layers, and depths to all this that I wish we understood more of. But I just feel like, yeah, she wanted to tell me herself and she could be free of it. So,
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
yeah.
It reminds me almost of like AA, like you need to go through these steps to kind of like forgive yourself and help others forgive you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's a big
Wow.
process of evolution that our souls are
Yeah.
in. We never die.
Totally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. All right, I got a couple more stories left. I have some energy manipulation stories. So, as a Reiki master, one of the very first symbols you learn is Chokure, and that can be used for protection as well as physical healing and earth healing, basically healing anything in the 3D plane. And so one day for shits and giggles, I was in front of the microwave, and obviously microwaves are not good for you. They send out radiation, and you're not supposed to stand next to a microwave when it's on, all that stuff. So I was sitting in front of the microwave and I stood a couple feet back and I was like, I'm like, let me practice this real quick. So I did the choker ray sign, and I've done it, a million times with other things. And there's been plenty of times you haven't felt like anything happen, but it's happening. And so I do it and I go like this, and all of a sudden I felt this like force field bubble literally like pop up around me, and I could literally feel like the pushback from the radiation coming from the microwave and hitting this force shield that I had
Wow.
created for myself.
Wow.
And I was like,
That's incredible.
"Oh." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that works. We're good. Like, we're in business. That definitely works." Like,
Man, that's so cool. I mean, I always recommend going for a pat down instead of through those airport scanners. But if you have to go through one of those, you should try that.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
seriously.
that's very smart. That's a very good advice. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, I mean, and even if you don't know Reiki, just using the power of intent of creating a protective bubble around you can work as well. So
That's super cool that you experienced that so viscerally.
yeah, and I've tried it again with other things, and I haven't like felt it, but like just know that it does work as long as you have the intent behind it. That
Yeah.
stuff does absolutely work for sure.
Nice.
And then another time where a couple of times, but another time where I was using energy to manipulate things is in the very beginning of my spiritual awakening. I was experimenting with plant medicine like mushrooms,
Mhm.
magic mushrooms, and that really helped to open up my mind. It helped me get rid of like this lifelong depression that I had.
Mm.
It helped me get spiritual downloads and all this stuff. So during that time period, I'm just kind of like looking out my window and seeing this flashing street light that has been flashing for months, and it was like annoying. And I'm like, oh my God, like, why can't they just fix this light? Like, it's so annoying. And I'm just like, and something told me, it was like, you can fix that yourself. Just focus
Hmm.
on it. And I was like, okay, all right, let me see. So I just start staring at this light, but not like forcing it, just trying to like focus energy but not be like forceful about it, like turn on, turn on, turn on kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like just let it flow, and all of a sudden the light fixed itself and
Wow.
turned on, and it has been fixed ever since.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna have to try that one too.
I was like, okay, like I don't know if it was because I was doing that plant medicine and that kind of helped open up some stuff. Like I have no idea. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But
Interesting.
yeah, it was just very, very interesting.
We have a taillight
Wow.
on our truck that keeps going on and off. Maybe we should just try to fix it by focusing
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Worth a
No,
try.
it is worth a try. I know with my car, my phone will never hook up to the Bluetooth the first time. I have to do it like 4 or 5 times until eventually I'm like, you know what? What if I just like stared at it until it worked and like tried to give it energy? And every time I do that, it works immediately. I'm like, okay,
Really?
I guess that works too.
Wow.
So when you were focusing on that light, it wasn't like you were like trying to turn it off for good or turn it on for good. You were just focusing and whatever happened.
Yeah, kind of like when you look at something but you're not looking at it, where like you kind of soften your eyes and like
Uh-huh.
kind of let your eyes drift. It's almost like that. Like cuz whenever I try to like focus like oh, I'm going to bend this spoon right now, and like you're like focusing, it never ever happens when I'm doing it like that. It will
Right.
only happen when I'm able to relax and like believe that
Hmm.
I can affect this thing.
Mhm.
But like not to the point where it's like I'm magical, I can do this, I can do that, but just be like, no, I have faith that I can manipulate this energy right now.
Hmm.
And then it usually works.
Faith, that's a big one right there. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So the next couple stories are about UFOs and aliens.
Nice.
Yeah, I've had a couple experiences in my life. When I was a kid, I had this knowing that like aliens were real. I always knew. I'm like, I don't know why people think we're the only thing in this
Mhm.
universe. I think that's asinine. Like
Mhm.
even as a child, I'm like, are you kidding me that we're not the only thing here? That's a really stupid idea. Like I don't
Yeah.
know why people think that. And I just remember like I got kind of paranoid at a really young age too, because I'm like, they're out there, they're watching us, they implant us with stuff, oh my God. And it's like, like once you learn about that stuff, it's a little overwhelming
Yeah.
until you start to learn more about it. So I just always knew that they were around, and I knew that the government obviously had stuff to do with it and whatnot. And obviously we see that coming out now with all the congressional hearings over the last couple years. They've been talking about UFOs. They call them UAPs now, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I'll stick with UFO, thanks.
Yeah.
But I remember I was probably about like 12-ish years old, and I was up in a little bit north of here, so like northwest New Hampshire, and I was staying at my grandfather's house, and we're probably like 2 hours away, 2 hours south of where the Betty and Barney Hill incident happened. I don't know if you guys have heard of that
I
story.
haven't, no.
No.
Yeah, so I guess back in I believe it was like the 1950s, this couple got abducted in northern New Hampshire, and they got returned, and they remembered what happened to them and how the aliens like, abducted, like the typical story. They get abducted, they're on this surgical table and they're doing stuff to them and doing experiments, and then they return you back and they try to like erase your memory. But it's one of like the original stories that came out.
Hmm.
And we also have Air Force bases in New Hampshire. So like there's a bunch of
Mm.
like weird things in New
Yeah.
Hampshire for sure, just in general. So where my grandfather used to live, it was in the middle of nowhere. You could see every star outside. Like
Cool.
there's no light pollution, nothing. So I'm sleeping in bed, and there is a skylight above the bed, so you can see outside. So I can't sleep and I'm looking outside at night and all of a sudden I see a UFO fly by.
Ooh.
And it was pretty close. It wasn't like super super close, but I knew it was not an airplane. I knew it wasn't anything else. I knew it was UFO. It looked like the traditional like 1950s UFO with like the little saucer.
That's what I was gonna ask. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it wasn't like one of the newer looking ones. But like I wasn't asleep. I was awake. Like it was not a dream. I just, quietly saw it fly by and I was like, "Oh, okay. All right then. All right."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, I guess they're real," but like no one was with me, so I couldn't be like, "Hey, did you see that?" Like
Right.
Right.
so that was the first experience I ever had with a UFO.
Well, that sounds pretty good that you just got to see it and you weren't messed with in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. No, oh God, I would not want that. That's too scary, I think.
Yeah, totally.
The next time I saw a UFO though was a couple years later and it was much much closer. So, it happened in the town where I live at the middle school that I went to. I think it was like my brother's 8th grade chorus concert and I think I was like a freshman in high school and I was like I'm too cool for this. Like I don't want to go. Like I don't want to go to this stupid thing, but my parents like you have to go and I'm like okay, I'll just sit in the car then. They're like okay, whatever. So I'm sitting I'm like oh whatever. Like I was probably like what 15 years old. I was being a brat. So I'm sitting in the car and like this is like before cell phones, like, we didn't have any. So I'm literally just like staring, up at the sky.
Yeah.
And I still can't even believe this is real, but like I know it happened. I'm staring at the sky and all of a sudden the regular, old-fashioned shaped UFO
hmm
is almost like it was like sped up. Like it came immediately down right on top of like the school. And I'm just
Wow.
like in the car, like, what? And like you can see like the undersides, like you could see the lights and everything. And it literally just like came down real quick. Kind of like they must have been checking me out. I didn't see an alien or anything. I just saw the ship. But I'm sure they were like just checking me out. Maybe I was like daydreaming and meditating and they could sense it. And so I drew them in. I don't know.
Could be.
But they kind of
Huh.
just zoomed in, stayed there for a couple seconds, and then zoomed back out and then went like a million miles an hour in the other direction.
Wow.
Wow.
And then, so what was your reaction in that moment?
I was just like, again, I was like, did that just happen? Like, I know it happened. Like, I was here, but like, what?
Did
Like, that
anyone
was
else
weird.
see it
Nope.
or?
No, because
Okay.
we were at an event at the school, so everyone was in the school, and I was just sitting in the front parking lot, and it just happened. I was like, okay, like.
No fear?
No, just kind of like, did that just happen? Or am I like
Wow.
hallucinating right now? Like I don't know. It was very strange to say the least.
Maybe they came on a mission when they knew everyone would be in the school and then they're like, shit, somebody's in the parking lot. We got to get out of here.
Right? I mean, who knows? You never know, but I mean, I'm like, okay, I guess it happened. Like I'm not like a total UFO person. Like I do believe in them, but it's very strange for sure.
I wonder if they're like your people or something. I don't know why I'm thinking that.
I had
Like-
the same thought. Like,
Yeah.
they're coming to check on you for some reason. Something about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, or it could just be like I'm open and like
Yeah.
I'm open-minded, and so they're like, oh, hey, like she believes, so we're just gonna pop in and be like, hey, yeah, wink, wink, we're here, bye.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Totally.
I definitely feel like it was that, or maybe it was just like happenstance that I just happened to be in a place at a time, and they just happened to pass by, and I just happened to see it.
I might think that, but since it was both
Yeah.
like both stories are the same looking craft,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's similarities there.
for sure.
And
It
I
could have been
wonder
that.
if anyone could see it, or maybe you just can see it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have someone else with me because it's always nice to have another witness when weird stuff happens because it's
Yeah.
like I never tell them what I see. I just look at them like, you tell me what you saw, and then I'll
Ah.
tell you what I saw. That way, I'm not influencing you with like what I think I saw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect. I like that.
I mean,
Very
obviously
smart.
it was impactful enough that these memories didn't fade. These stories are from a
Mhm.
while ago and you
Mhm.
remember them. So that's cool.
Yeah,
That says something.
yeah. A more recent thing that happened probably like 4 years ago now. I had a dream, and it was at the end of my driveway, and there was a person, but it wasn't a person. There's a person standing at the end of my driveway, and I understood that they were a visitor, and they looked like a human. And I later, when I did some research on like the different kind of species of aliens that they think there are, it looked very much like a Nordic race of alien.
Ah.
Okay.
Where they're like these tall, white, beautiful looking people, but like they're not people, they're aliens. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a picture of them or
I
I've
don't know
heard
that
of
stuff in
it.
detail, but the concept of what you're saying, I'm aware of.
yeah. But she was wearing like this shiny blue, very much the color of your sweatshirt, Sophia.
Hmm.
That color sweatshirt. They were wearing like a skin tight jumpsuit, and
Okay.
she was this beautiful woman. She was blonde, and I've heard some people say that they're not a good race of aliens, but I've come to believe that they are. Like I didn't feel any negativity from her. She was just kind of standing there, and I think she was just visiting because that was like a time during my spiritual development where I was learning more about 4D type of things like aliens and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
think she was just kind of coming to visit in a dream state to be like, yeah, we're here. Like, yeah, there are good ones here and we are here to help you guys. And, you know, you
Cool.
don't need to be afraid of us. Like, we're just kind of in the background, like doing what we can, because obviously they're limited as far as like how they can help us.
Hmm.
And that, at least that's what I've come to understand. But I think
Mhm.
that experience was definitely her just being like, hey, we're here. And some of us are on your guys' team.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because in the Vedic texts, like the visitors have that blue color. And so, the in olden times, maybe they thought that was just their skin, but you interpreted
Mm,
it as kind of like a suit that
hmm
she was wearing.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. That is, yeah. That very possibly is connected.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Huh.
Very
I love
cool.
that. Let's see. Okay, I have two more alien stories. So one of them you guys were here for, if you remember. We were in the Be Your Own Psychic group, and you guys, I think you guys were running it that week, and you were like, okay, let's all channel right now and see what we come up with. So we all got into a meditative state, and
Oh,
some
you're
of us
jogging
were,
my memory. This is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to be
mine
so,
good.
too.
yeah,
Okay.
some of us were doing. I was automatic writing because when I start to channel, it's just the easiest thing for me.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So remember, it was just 5 minutes, but I had like 3 pages of notes. And I was just like, we all went around and we all said what we picked up on. But I still remember that message. They said it was from the Federation of Light, Galactic Federation of Light. I don't even know if it's real, to be quite honest, but that's just what they said.
Hmm.
And they're based, I could sense that they were based like either on the moon or near the moon, like kind of like that far away from Earth.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
wherever their headquarters is, it's kind of in that area. And if people don't know what it is, it's supposedly like a ship or a meeting place of different alien races where they can kind of like watch over us, but they're on the light side. They're trying to help us out.
Hmm.
They can't really interfere in certain ways. They can do certain things, but there's a lot of things they can't do. But they're just kind of here to help us and kind of see the show and what's going on right now.
Hmm.
So I connected with this mantis being, and a lot of people say that they're not good either, but the one that I connected to was good. And he just started giving me all these downloads, and basically the main message that he was giving back then, and I still think 2 years later, it's still very relevant today, that we all need to shine our light as bright as we can and as often as we can, because from their view up in outer space, they can literally see our pillars of light coming from
Wow.
the earth. And the more of us who wake up, the light gets bigger and stronger, which is helping us to, you know, transcend the lower 3D part of our world right now.
I
I got
remember that
chills.
when I could go find my notebook. I wrote that down. When you said that, I was like,
Yeah.
I need to write this down. I wrote it down right away. That was powerful. That still is powerful. Yeah.
That is so powerful. Oh my goodness. I just had like a vision of that when you were talking. That's so beautiful too. And
Yeah. It
love,
was,
right? Love, compassion, those frequencies, helping others, being in our essence. Yeah, all
I
those
mean,
things.
we're big medical medium people, and he says that if people just simply spread light around the world, that's how you change the world. It would have way greater effect than you could possibly imagine.
yep. And
Yeah.
that's 1,000% true. And that's exactly what that message meant. And back then I saw the vision as like these large pillars of light, but they were like separated from each other. And now when I look at it, I'm seeing a lot more pillars of light. They're smaller, but that's fine. That just means there's more people waking up right now and holding that frequency. So I think it's very important for people to remember to just do something daily to connect to your higher self or your higher power, and to just kind of spread that love, even if it's just a 5-minute prayer just for humanity or for Mother Earth or whatever you want to pray for. I think it's very powerful that we do that, especially in these times.
Yes.
Absolutely. And even if you're just going about your day, like I've heard other people say they do this in line at the grocery store. They'll just find someone who they think needs light and they'll just surround that person with white light. And, they'll do their work as they're going about their day.
Very cool. Yeah. And like doing the healing work too on yourself. I think that, increases your light frequency. If you can get out of, your wounding or lower consciousness and feel more empowered and feel healed. So very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It starts with, working on yourself. I mean, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Like, it starts with one person. And my favorite quote is, be the light for yourself and others. And I think that definitely embodies that. It's like, just try to do your best and the rest will follow.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So I have one more UFO story, and it literally just happened like not even 2 weeks ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Very interesting, very just like random. So I went outside on the back porch. It was probably like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I was meditating again, just kind of, looking at the stars because it's winter. The clarity is much better in the winter to see the stars here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking up and I see something moving in the sky. And I thought it was an airplane because we're not far from the airport. So we got airplanes around us all day long. And I was like, okay, that's not an airplane. I think that's a satellite. And I was like, okay, yeah, there's a bunch of satellites in the air now. It's not like when we were kids and there was nothing
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And so I see this satellite, slowly going at its pace across the sky. And then I see another satellite coming from over here. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny seeing two at once. Like, okay. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of satellites everywhere. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just watching them and they look like they're going to collide from my point of view, but obviously they're not, they're not right next to each other in the sky. So I'm watching it. And then all of a sudden, as they're about to cross each other's paths over here, is something else in the sky. And I was like, oh, maybe it's another satellite or airplane. So I'm just watching this happening. And as they cross, this other object in the sky comes by and literally, and I couldn't believe my eyes when it happened, literally went like straight and then around the satellite and then kept on its path going straight. And I was like,
whoa.
Wow.
Satellites don't move like that. Airplanes don't move like that.
No.
Like, are you kidding? I just so happened to walk out here and I look up and 2 minutes later, I see possibly a UFO in the sky. Like, okay. I was just like, why does this always happen to me? Like, and no one is ever around to like help me confirm that it's real.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I totally believe you. And
yeah.
There's so much going on in the skies, and I'm of the belief that we got our airplanes, we got all the airplanes doing the chemtrails, we got alien spacecraft, and so it's like, how are they all avoiding each other? Like, I've always kind of wondered that, and your story kind of illustrates that there.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, no, I believe it, especially like in 2026, like for sure. And I just think a lot of people are not looking up. People aren't looking up, they're too busy on their phones, they're too busy in their houses doing whatever. And I'm like, I bet you if people looked up more often, we would probably see a lot of strange things. Like,
That's another thing medical medium says. He's like, oh, you've never seen a UFO before? He says, just look up. They're there. You'll see them. Just keep looking up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I just walked outside for like 5 minutes to get a breath of fresh air, and I'm seeing this. Like, so that's why I'm like, if people have any doubts, like seriously, just go out somewhere quiet, whether it's a mountain or the desert or wherever, and like just look up for like an hour. I bet you not only will you see meteors and comets and stuff, you're gonna see a whole bunch of other stuff that looks kind of weird, and you're like, oh, okay, like that's not normal.
Exactly.
The only other thing I want to say is if you're seeing things, like, you're not crazy, especially with what's happening now and the frequency rising on the planet. Like, if you think you saw something out of the corner of your eye, you did.
Yep.
100% you did. Like, don't turn off your intuition, believe it, but now take the next steps instead of being afraid of it. Learn about it, learn how you can protect yourself so that you're not afraid and that you are prepared.
Absolutely. I got a little distracted at the end, like an orb flew through your camera.
I saw it
too. Did you?
I
Nice.
saw it.
I
Yeah.
saw one earlier. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm doing this kind of stuff and talking about it, they're all over the place.
Well, I think your words of encouragement are a great natural transition into our soulful send off.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll jump in here and start and say that this episode with you, this is why we do this podcast.
Yes.
Your stories are just, they're so relatable. There's so many of them, and they're so inspiring and encouraging. It's like so many people are going to be like, okay, well, yeah, that happened to me also when I was a kid. I didn't think much of it. You know, it's happened a few times as an adult. Maybe I should pay more attention to this. And you've talked a lot about just asking or just having these intentions. And oftentimes that's all it takes to really spark these experiences. And they're important, like we've talked about, talking to your dad and protecting yourself and all that. But the underlying current I felt from you, Erin, in all of your stories is you standing in your power. You're just so in your power with your awareness, with your intentions, your drive, your curiosity, and your essence. You're so like excited about this stuff and curious about it, and it's fun for you. And that's how it is for me too. So when I meet someone else who's of that similar nature, it's like, yes, my soul sister living similar experiences, even though we're on the other side of the country. And that ties into a lesson you brought up earlier, which is shining your light. Like that is, this all kind of comes down to that. Like even with the protection stuff, it's shining your light. And you here with all your essence and your curiosity and your excitement, that's you shining your light. And I'm very thankful that you agreed to come here and do that today on our podcast.
Thank you so much. That is so kind. You guys have the nicest things to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I want to go next. Erin, you're so inspiring. I feel like you've brought this down to a level of humanity, and also that we are all capable of making an impact and a difference in a positive way. I think you're giving people real tools they can use in their lives, real ways they can find to empower themselves and not be scared, because this stuff is out there. The darkness is out there, whatever you want to call it, lower frequency energies. And we're giving people the tools that they need to combat it in an empowering way. So I think that's beautiful. I love that your stories are so varied because they cover so many different topics and scenarios, and you're very humble with it all, and you're very lighthearted. It's not like you were crying about your experiences or saying they traumatized you. Like, you've kept a good boundary there with how to be in your power, make a difference in a positive way, and not go into fear. So I commend you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's really important for people to know that this stuff isn't as complicated as people may think. Like, you can overthink it if you want, or you could keep it just as simple and it will work either way. And I just want people to know, the last thing I want to say is to just, eyes open, keep your eyes open, but don't have any fear. No fear.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Oh, you're such a bright light. I love that so much.
Thank you. You guys are as well. You guys are amazing. You are so sweet. You're so down to earth. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Visit us at aspenroots.love.